It is unfortunately that time of year again, meaning we are at the end of the season. But that does not mean we are fully finished with the base yet. In today's episode, I want to completely finish everything and a little bit of touches, because you know, we have a couple blank spots like right here. I want to fill these up and just add the finishing touches to the base, and it's mainly just going to be the little stuff. But welcome back to the final episode of AutoCraft Season 5. In the last episode, we got this shop over here completed, and in which this is our furniture shop, where we sell the home decor items in the game, which just so happens to be things like the decorated pots, we have the barrels, the composters, and the bookshelves, and all that kind of stuff. So now people can buy this stuff as they're finishing up their builds here on the server. In which the first thing that I want to start working on today is filling in the blank spots. We've got a couple different ones being like right here, and then like I said in the intro, down by the shore. And I believe the easiest way to start filling these in is going to be a mix of trees and bushes, as I really don't have many buildings or anything else that I really want to put in this base. And now my only hopes is that we have enough leaves for this. We have a little bit here. Oh, wait, we have plenty. But do we have enough spruce? Ooh. We might need to actually go buy some spruce. All right, spruce. There it is. And there's nothing left. Well, I guess we are going to have to go do this the old-fashioned way. That is so weird. I put my wallet back down on the floor here, and the carpet picked up on the wall, but when I open the box, it gets rid of it and it makes it come back. Don't know if that's a bug, or I don't really know what to consider it. All right, and good. We do still have some spruce saplings, and let's also grab some bones. So if we fly out in this direction, we should be able to find just a plains biome that we can use to grow up some trees. And here we go. This plains biome should work right here. So I'm just going to get some trees planted here, in which I've just planted all 64 saplings. So now let's grab some bone meal, and we're just going to bone meal up these trees. I really hope I brought enough bone meal for this. And here we are. Here is a bunch of logs. Now, I get the awesome joy of breaking all of this down. So I will see you guys once I have gotten all of this done. This was a lot more wood than I was expecting. We got almost a full shulker box's worth of spruce. So I think that means that we have enough wood to build these trees. So I may have just been flying and I just wasn't looking at my screen, just kind of left myself going, and now all of a sudden I'm surrounded by pistons and redstone. I don't know what I've gotten myself into here. What am I looking at here? Oh, these are moss farms. Ow. That makes more sense. I still don't know where I am though. But there is a nether portal, so that means I should be able to easily find out how to get home from here. And yep, there's spawn right over there. The cool part is that with all of this wood that we gathered with a stack of saplings, we actually got more saplings back from it. So just in case we need to get more saplings, we can. But that means now we can get these spruce leaves back out and get working on some trees. I believe I have added a total of 6 trees to the area, and I've purposefully left some areas more blank, like right here, or maybe just adding a fallen down tree will work instead. So I've added these trees over here, and then I've also added, I think, 2 over here. There's so many trees in this area, sometimes it's hard to tell where I've added trees and where I haven't. And now the next thing that I'm hoping that I have a good amount of in the storage room is going to be short grass and ferns. because I've been using that to decorate the area, and we have, looks like a stack of short grass and a stack and 52 of ferns. That is all we have though, so I'm gonna go grab us a little bit more short grass so then we can detail this area. This was only 1 pair of shears. That's not too shabby at all. Let's get to work. And the work has been completed. I have added in a bunch more grass and ferns into the areas that really needed it. And just adding that alone makes this area look much more finished. I've also come through to the areas that we have already finished and used some bone meal on some of the ferns and grass to make them 2 tall instead of 1. And then just to show over in this section as well, it really makes a difference. As before, this was all just flat grass. And as I said earlier in the video, I wanted to add a fallen tree, which I did right here. We have a tree here made of some spruce stairs, fences, a stripped log, some normal logs, and this right here is actually just a full moss block, so it looks like the moss is actually going down the side as well, and then I'm using vines to blend them in together. And then obviously in this area, we have more leaves to show that they fell off the tree. Meaning if I take a fly around our area, there isn't a lot of dead space anymore. And I could even fly all the way down this path and it still honestly feels the same. However, when I get to the end of this path, well, it just kind of ends. There's basically just a straight line where this pathway ends. And if I come around this building here, you can see that the path does in fact continue here a little bit. What I'm thinking is we figure out a way for these paths to connect. And by figure out a way, I mean we are literally just going to take this path and extend it by going down in this direction and then connecting with this one over here. But of course, I'm going to need some of the materials for that, which is going to be packed mud, brown mushroom blocks, rooted dirt, and coarse dirt, which I believe we already have most of that. Here's some packed mud. I know we do have a little bit of mud bricks in there as well. And here we go. We have everything here, so let's extend this path by just thickening up this little one that we made already. I'm probably just going to connect this right here. And it actually seems... oh, hello. It looks like there's an armor stand right here, but I can't actually interact with it for some reason. In which I just realized why I cannot interact with it, and that is because I do not have the Armor Poser mod installed. I'll be right back. Let me go install that. Alright, I have installed the mod, and yes, I can now actually interact with stuff. So I think what I'm going to do temporarily with this guy is I'm just going to take its Y position and move it up by, let's say, 2. Because that way it's easy, I'll be able to move it back down by 2, and it is now allowing me to place blocks down here. Alright, let's get to pathing and get this little path done. And then with the final touches of the grass on top, we've got the pathway now fully connected over to the shopping district, which means our starter town is finally fully connected with the shopping district. And before I forget, let me move this armor stand back down so I don't get yelled at. There we go. That's all lined back up and we're good to go. And since we are already working on pathways, we might as well make one more. As I want to make one small pathway, probably out of just straight coarse dirt, going from here through the woods, kind of along the shore here, and then have it end up over here on our roadway. Which actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there is coarse dirt already on the ground here because of the mega taiga. So maybe instead of doing straight coarse dirt, maybe we'll ease into some grass path. I should be able to just slowly ease into this and still make it look pretty natural, which I think that will work right there. I will say though, it has been a while since I have used grass path. This is also just really relaxing. Just listening to the sound of the grass path going. I don't know why. It's relaxing. And then we'll do the same thing where we just get a little bit sparse with it at the end. And that made that pretty simple. It's just one skinny little path that also kind of just weaves through the trees a little bit as well. And I will say, I do actually like the look of the grass path. Definitely needs probably a little bit of thickening in some spots, but that's okay. I can definitely see just like a walk through the woods here is really relaxing. And I just want to see from above, how obvious is this path? Oh, wait, that's actually really obvious, but you know what? It's fine. We still have a path that goes all the way through. And you know what? It'll also make you want to go over to either our starter area or come over to the shop. So we can either use it to show off our cool base or get some money. The final thing that I want to do with this base area before we call it complete is just some finishing touches. There's a couple little ideas that I have of a few things to do, but they're the small things. So I'm going to get these done and then come back. And then we'll take a quick look at the stuff that I've added. It may not look like I have added too much to the area, but I've spent about the past hour working on a couple different designs over here. Starting off, obviously we have these lampposts now around the area to start hiding some of the torches. Went for a simple design of just using a polished tough brick wall with some spruce fences with another one on top and then just with some slabs and a lantern. They're simple, but if I go ahead and open up the light overlay, you can see that it is still working for the area and we shouldn't have many mob spawns. There is still going to be a couple torches in the area, but we have definitely lessened it with these posts. Another thing that I've added, which is right over here, and I'm not sure if I like it, is this post that comes off of the fence and then runs a fence line over to the building. As for inspiration for this, it's actually from my Season 4 base. In the final episode, we built things kind of similar to this where we put some banners on it. I don't exactly want to put banners on it this time, but I think I do like taking the spruce fence and making it go all the way across. It just adds something overhead to look at, even though it's something that's on the side of the pathway and out where you're really not going to be walking. Finally, the last thing that I have added is an entryway to the starter town, as this is the main road that takes you from the shopping district over to the area where you can then access almost everybody's base. But of course, I had to put a sign that says, "Welcome to the fun starter town," because, you know, we're obviously the fun one over here. And then on the back side of the sign, it says, "See you again soon." It's a simple little archway, but I think it works in the area and helps divide between starter town and just kind of the wilderness middle ground in between the starter town and the shopping district. But now that all of these final details are in here, there really isn't much more I want to add to the base. So I guess that means we are finished. Which is weird. I never thought with this base idea that I had for this season staying in the starter town that I would be able to be finished with everything that I want to do. Of course, I had a couple other ideas for some builds to do in the area, but we just straight do not have enough time to do that at all. Which is why I'm just kind of taking it off of the checklist being something that we want to do. But since we are done, let's go take a stroll down memory lane. And we will start this trip right here. This is actually our spawn of the world. Even though when we first started, this was a full taiga, we have transformed it into a beachfront where we themed our shopping district for this season, which we did a boardwalk, which most shops you'll see on the boardwalk is going to fit with like the small shop fronts and all that stuff. Well, besides one, but we will get to this later. After we started, me, Calvin, Lazy, and Jushik made it over to this land where we went into the cave systems over there and started our bond for what ended up being our starter town for this season. Which, starting off, we have my area over here. Right across this land bridge, we have Jushik's area with this massive tree. Coming across this way, we have Calvin's area with his beautiful cliffs, trees, and his clock tower. Which I must say, having to work this entire season with that thing in the background is a little intimidating. We have Lazy over here, and then we have one of the newest members of the server, King of Candles, who started over here, where he built a half a house, which honestly, I think this is an amazing idea. But then how could we forget the top of this hill up here, which just so happens to be Torture Mountain, which here is the sign that started it all, Torture Mountain, or also known as Mount Torture. But I would say that the biggest thing that has ever happened here at the starter town is going to be on this platform right here. Because this is where me and Calvin first started discussing our new business idea, which just so happened to be themed off of that block right over there. This is where we began our stuff shop, where we talked about the ideas on how we were going to get people to sign up, and then, of course, we immediately went after our neighbors to get them to sign up for the service. And then unfortunately, the shop isn't here anymore as we remodeled, but this was where the stuff shop was located. Which, fun fact, we can actually just dig right down here and get right back down into the old shop. In fact, I think, yeah, everything is still here. Where this is where we had everything set up. You could sign up for the 3 different tiers of the shop, and then also buy stuff right here. But most important was this door right here. If we click on this button, this will open the vault, or at least the secret passageway into the vault. And there it is. This was the main room in which we decided we were going to be doing our reinvention to turn the shop into, instead of it being a tough scheme where in reality we were just hurting ourselves, into just a normal, run-of-the-mill tough shop. In which, of course, the actual vault was never behind here at all. The real vault is you just press this button right here and it takes you back and then down into the vault. I know, very secure. And you know what? I forgot how organized Fire made our vault. But as I said before, we retired the stuff shop and turned it into Tufts. It was sad to see the shop go, but I'm pretty sure all the other AutoCrafters were happy that we weren't scamming them anymore. And since we're over here, we will talk about this shop right here. Back in episode 3, we started our rocket business, but we didn't end up building this shop until episode 8, where obviously we sell rockets in here. And do we have any sales? Oh, we do. We have 1 diamond. So we would just add it to the pile. But since we're over here, we will talk about the rest of the shopping district, where if anything, it's almost in kind of a semicircle, but like 3/4 of a circle as well. Where we have shops going all around the beachfront. But I won't get into too much detail as these are everybody else's shops. What I will get into detail though is this shop right here. But not too much detail as we, just built this in the last episode. And also talked about it at the beginning of this one. Like I said in the beginning, this is our furniture shop where we sell all the little home decor stuff that you're going to need to decorate your builds. And that's it. That's all the detail this thing's getting. Next up, let's break down our base a little bit. Walking in, the first thing that you are greeted with is the horse stable, where inside we have Bull. This is our horse, and honestly, it's a pretty quick horse too, except I don't think it has a good jump. Yeah, this jump is terrible. But this little guy got us around the season before we got on our elytras, and I couldn't be more thankful for him. And then this thing just showed up randomly as well. But walking away from the horse stables, we have some animal pens where we have some pigs and some chickens that just kind of wandered into here. And then we have some cows over here. On the other side of the road, we have this big pickaxe on this building, which is our masons area. Where in here, we have all of our mason villagers at the master level so we can trade for anything that we want. Which, mainly, I've been using these guys for bricks. As collecting clay is a pain. Over here, we've got our starter house, which I went for more of a cabin feel this season, and we got our fireplace over here. This area right here was our original storage room where we had chests lined up the wall right here, but then eventually we moved out and went to that building over there, which we will get to in a minute. This right here is actually, I believe, one of our first sets of iron armor. I don't think it was the original, because let's be honest, it was probably fully broken. Down in the basement, we've got just the basic fundamentals, being crafting tables, furnaces, and just the other workstations. We have the enchant setup over here, and then, of course, the cactus. There is absolutely no significance over this cactus being here, besides I wanted to put it here. And since it's there, I feel like I just can't get rid of it. But going all the way upstairs is the bedroom/loft, where we actually have another bed right under there. That's Rusty's bed, but you know what? Maybe he's just going back to last season where he was a troll and he wants to be instead of being a troll under the bridge, he wants to be the troll under my bed. Kind of weird, but it's okay. Next up, going down the line, we have my quarry. And we have visitors. Stop trying to bother me while I'm giving a tour. This quarry was my first big terraforming project that I gave absolutely no designing with. This build was made entirely on the server, and I'm going to be honest, I am really proud of it. With the pathway going down all the way to the bottom and the pit going, all the way down to bedrock. We've got this machine over here pulling all the rocks up to the surface where, I still didn't wax that. But this cave is also a very important part of the season. This right here is the Mighty Oak's temporary base for while they were on the server. If you remember back in December, we had the collab with the Dragonfell SMP, where they hopped on the server for the week leading up to Christmas, and then we hopped onto their server for the week after Christmas. It was definitely a very fun collab, and now Oak will always be a part of my base. I've also got some armor stands set up in the quarry as well, and my top two favorites are definitely Maranther pushing Calvin into the pit, and Rocket holding on for dear life. Now let's move on to the cliffs. The cliff is home to my nether portal and Perry the Platypus, but it is also home to the dog cafe. Definitely one of my more weird builds of the season, but if I'm going to be honest, I also really love this build. This build was originally just supposed to be a big dog house where dogs could come and play, but as I was building it, it ended up just coming out more like a diner, and I loved that idea instead. And not only that, but all the other AutoCrafters have brought their dogs over here as well. But then right up here in the managers only section, we have my real life dog, Dozer, whose face is in the wall. Come on, dude, look at me. There he is. Where after a bet we lost with Calvin, we have a heavy core here as his ball, and then this blue one as his backup. Wrapping up our area over here, we have our 4 fields with the carrots, beetroots, wheat, and potatoes, and then our big build, which is the storage room. This automated storage system is actually the same one that we built in Season 3, but just the updated model. And must I say, this thing was a lot to maintain. If you were caught up on the live streams, this build probably broke every single time that I streamed. And in fact, it's probably broken right now. Towards the end of the season, I just stopped using the actual automation of it, and I just did it manual. So I think it's safe to say that next season, I am definitely going to be doing a manual storage room. As also, we really just didn't need all these chests. All right, how could I forget our super smelter that's over here? Inside this build in the basement, we have our super smelter that's just tucked away back here, in which we are using dried kelp blocks as fuel. But you might be wondering, where are we getting those dried kelp blocks? Those blocks are from this big kelp farm that we built during stream weekend back in October. Now this farm is nested inside of our industrial district where we didn't have a lot of farms this season, as there really wasn't much that we needed to automate. Here we have our creeper farm and our sugarcane farm, which we had going down here to this AutoCrafter, which was crafting it up into rockets. But that is about everything that we have gotten up to this season. So that means it is time to retire our gear. But first, let me clean up my inventory. I was thinking about using the starter house as our spot to place our stuff for this season, but I actually think we're gonna do the storage room because that's where we spent more time. So, I guess right here is where we will set up our gear, including everything that is in the ender chest as well, which is going to go in this barrel over here. And then finally, we must take off our armor and place it right here. I've never actually put the farmer's hat on an armor stand before. It looks pretty good. But that means we are done with this season. Actually, not yet. I'm gonna take all this stuff back because we actually aren't done yet. We still have one more thing for this season. However, it's not on YouTube. We are having our final stream weekend to say goodbye to Season 5 of AutoCraft, which is going to be taking place on the last weekend of this month, May 31st and June 1st, where basically, as soon as the stream weekend is over, the server is over. Once the last person says goodbye on their live stream, the server will be shutting down. So I hope to see you there, but that also means this is going to be the end of this video. So I hope you all enjoyed Season 5 as I did, and I also hope you all have a great day, or night, or whatever it is right now. And I will see you all in Season 6. Goodbye.